and welcome to Goiânia International Racetrack for the second day of racing. This weekend we'll be following race 2 for both Carrera Cup and Sprint Challenge that we started tomorrow. This is the 20th season of Brazilian Porsche Cup. There you have an aerial view of this beautiful racetrack located near the city of Goiânia, which is about 200 kilometers away from Brasilia, Brazil's capital. All is ready for the second day of the first round of Porsche Cup Sprint Championship. We have both the Carrera Cup and the Sprint Challenge. Yesterday we had two great races 1 for both categories, and now we'll have race 2 for both categories as well, in a season that we have, as usual, 6 rounds of 2 races each in the Sprint Championship and 3 races for the Endurance Championship. Pole position today was decided by a draw after yesterday's results. Carrera Cup, the draw chose the yesterday's winner as 7th place, and so it inverts from here to the 7th place yesterday. And in the Sprint Challenge, the draw put the winner yesterday in 8th place. The draw, it can be between 5th and 8th. So let's listen to Gabi Guimarães.
Vamos pro dia número 2 de corridas na Porsche Cup Brasil 2024. Tô na frente da torcida, já que todos os ingressos foram vendidos para esta etapa, primeira etapa aqui no Autódromo Internacional Ayrton Senna. Legal demais de ver a corrida número 2, 8 posições invertidas. Vamos ver como é que isso vai mexer com os resultados da corrida.
And pretty much what she said is that the public is there. It's a sold out day in the international Goiânia circuit, and we'll be following these races with Mr. Lago and with Carlos Costa. Hello, Carlos. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are, as we see what happened yesterday during race 1 for Carrera Cup.
Hello, Sergio. Very big pleasure to be here with you to broadcast one more season of the Brazilian Porsche Cup Series as we see the highlights of yesterday's races. Of course, we have to remember that we had a very interesting battle yesterday between Março Miller, that we see there crossing the checkered flag, the final straight there ahead of Miguel Paludo. So important win for Março Miller, a former Porsche Cup champion, ahead of Miguel Paludo, the guy with most titles and most race wins in this grid. As we see also Francisco Horta, the winner of the sport class, celebrating there. We have to remember that we have the main Carrera Cup class and the rookie class and the sport class. The sport is the intermediate one. In the rookie class, we had the race win by Israel Salman. So very good performance by Israel. Israel actually is graduating from the Sprint Challenge Championship, so now driving more powerful cars, and of course we can expect a lot of action today as we saw yesterday. Now the replay of Porsche Sprint Challenge race, and of course, as you explained, we'll have first the Carrera Cup race 2 and then the Sprint Challenge race 2. Anyway, we had rain earlier today, Sergio, so it will be interesting to check the track conditions. Apparently it's dry, but we have to wait and see as we see some spins and action from yesterday's races.
Yes, and these are images of yesterday's Sprint Challenge race. We had the entrance of the safety car, Carlos. The first race of Carrera Cup didn't have any safety car, and it was a very interesting race, and at the end, pole position won the race. But anyway, many changes in many positions, so now we expect a very interesting race as well on this Sunday. That was the winner of the sport class, number 154. That was Chavez winning the race for the rookies. These are the podiums. And as always, Carlos, with the inversion of the grid, we should have two very interesting races. In the Carrera Cup, the draw is always done from 5th to 8th, like I said. And yesterday's winner, Marçal Miller, got number 7. So Franco Giaffoni, who finished 7th yesterday in the Carrera Cup race, will start in the pole position alongside Pedro Aguiar.
Yeah, Franco Giaffoni, a former sport class driver and champion, now racing in the main Carrera Cup class, as we see full stands. As you said, Sergio, sold out event today, so we can expect interesting things this Sunday. And Franco Giaffoni starting ahead of the pack. Marçal Miller, yesterday's winner, a little bit out of position, which, of course, shows us that we can expect an interesting race too. Of course, a lot of overtaking maneuvers, I believe, as we see the confirmation that track situation is quite good, so dry after the rain that we had earlier today, as you see the Portuguese commentators there. But interesting this draw, as we have Marçal Miller and Miguel Paludo in a different position compared to yesterday's grid. We see some highlights of the public attending there, the paddock, talking with the drivers. We saw Caio Castro there, the baby, and so on. But we can expect interesting things, and of course, we have to remember that this is already a very important race. We had yesterday Marçal Miller winning in Porsche Carrera Cup. In Porsche Sprint Challenge, we had actually the first race win of Miguel Mariotti in this series. Very interesting performance by Mariotti, claiming his first pole position in 3 years as well. Seba Malucelli winning in the sport class, and Caio Chaves, with only 16 years old, winning in the rookie class. So it will be interesting to see as now we check the sky. I believe that there will be no rain today.
Yes, I also expect there, and that we're watching are the best moments of the sprint trophy race. We saw at the very beginning a change in the first position. Number 8, Silvio Morestoni, started in the pole position, but there you see him being attacked by André Rosario, who started second, and then André Rosario finished in the first position. It was a great win for him. This, which is a kind of category that serves as school for future drivers. It was also a very interesting race, Carlos, and it shows growth because it had 16 drivers, more, not a lot more, but a few more than in last year's championship. We also had the participation of Letícia Buffoni, a female driver with an all-female team. She was running in the top 5 when she was touched close to the end of the race, and she ended up losing the race, being behind. But it was a great race anyway overall, where we also had the entrance of the safety car, Carlos.
Yeah, definitely interesting race in the first round of the Porsche Sprint Trophy Championship. As you said, a school category of Porsche Brazil. Very interesting performance from André Rosario, not just overtaking right after the race start, very early on the race, but also being able to extend his gap, his advantage actually, when we had the restart of the race after the deployment of the safety car. You talked about Letícia Buffoni. Some may know her from the Olympics and so on. She's a pro skater as well, but she didn't have a lot of luck in that incident. Eventually lost a bit of ground, but a good debut from her, and also Lucas Luco, that is a singer in Brazil. But anyway, we see that we had the Sprint Trophy race earlier today with the wet track. Apparently the track is already dry, which is very important when we think about the two races that we'll have back-to-back this Sunday, Sergio.
Yes, exactly. Second round will be in the first weekend of April in Mogi Guaçu, in Velocitar racetrack. There are 6 rounds for this championship, and this is just the first round, in which we expect that's going to be a great year, as it marks the 20th anniversary of the Porsche Cup Brazil. So we will be following first the Carrera Cup and then the second race. That was the winner of the sport class in the sprint trophy, Lucas Heil, and it was also a great race. So we should have the green flag for this race in about, let's see, in about 18, 19 minutes, Carlos. And that is Letícia Buffoni, who ended up fifth in the sport class after she was touched, Carlos. But it was indeed a great race for her. She was running second in her class when she was touched, and then she lost 3 positions in her class. Again, these are images of the Goiânia International Racetrack, and it's nice to see, Carlos, how good the public is, how the public in Goiânia came here to attend this race. It's an area where we have many, many motorsports fans.
Yeah, definitely. People of Goiânia are very passionate. We always have full stands in the Goiânia racetrack, the International Ayrton Senna circuit. Also, we see that people are there on the grass waiting for the restart. You talked about Letícia Buffoni. Important to have another female driver on the grid. She and Antonella Bassani, the reigning Sprint Challenge champion, have, as you said, an all-female driver crew, actually. Let's hear from Franco Giaffoni, considered today.
Quando o Marçal fez o sorteio ali e definiu que 8 seriam as posições que participariam do grid invertido, ficou feliz, foi até agradecê-lo?
Eu fiquei contente porque na classificatória eu cometi um erro na primeira volta e aí eu fiquei sem bigode, acabei largando em 15º, fiz uma corrida de recuperação, cheguei em 7º, então quando o Marçal sorteou, fiquei super feliz, eu fui até agradecer ele para mim.
Franco, você já teve esse primeiro contato com a pista agora, que tá secando. Isso é muito difícil, você vinha me falando, né? Porque ou tá seca, e aí você consegue já montar uma estratégia nesse sentido, ou tá molhada, o pneu deveria ser outro e tudo mais. As primeiras voltas vão ser um pouquinho mais complicadas, né?
Isso, essa pista tá meio mesclada, então não é que existe um trilho seco e uma parte molhada, ela tá manchada. Então, nas primeiras voltas a gente vai tentando experimentar um pouco o limite, ver o que dá. Mas eu acho que é uma dificuldade para todos. Eu acho que a primeira volta, as duas, sei lá, 3, 4 primeiras voltas são voltas que tem que tomar um pouco mais de cuidado. A gente está com todo mundo com setup de seco, então está todo mundo com calibragem para pista seca e não desse jeito. Então aí é usar um pouco a cabeça, ser menos afoito e fazer esse feito aí à vontade de Deus.
Nada como a experiência para segurar a onda dessa galera, né, que vem depois.
Ah, tem muita fera aqui atrás de mim, né? Mas largar na frente é sempre uma vantagem, né? É outro ritmo, você tem menos pessoas que você precisa ultrapassar. Eu fazendo um pódio hoje vou estar super feliz.
Boa sorte, Franco. Luke, voltamos com vocês.
Yeah, there we heard from Franco Giaffoni, as Sergio explained the pole sitter today due to the reverse grid regulations. Of course, he celebrated a lot the draw that put him in pole position. And actually, he was talking about the track conditions, as we saw in the images before. We had a wet track for the Sprint Trophy race, and now the conditions are so-so, let's put it that way. So they will have to check how the track is in the first couple of laps, as Franco Giaffoni explained, but he confirmed that tire pressure and the kind of the tire are for a dry setup. So I believe that we'll have an interesting race condition, and it will be especially tricky for the drivers this first couple of laps. But anyway, he was talking about his rivals as well, so a good level of competitiveness in this grid, and he aims a podium position in the end of the race. But the track condition will be an important factor in this beginning. Sergio.
Certainly, Carlos, we expect, if it doesn't rain anymore, that this condition will soon be a condition of just a dry track, right, after the first few laps. But undoubtedly, Franco Giaffoni is totally right, as they will all face tricky conditions in the beginning of the race, and he will have a great responsibility starting in the pole position, because we know that it's a long straight here in Goiânia with a turn to the right, and he will have this car alongside him, Pedro Aguiar, who will start in the second position. There is Pedro Aguiar there, and he is certainly looking forward for this race. As yesterday, Carlos, he was penalized in the starting grid and lost 2 positions. Now, Gabi Guimarães with Lucas Salles.
Vai dar sorte na corrida número 2, mais uma vez, além, claro, do seu talento, não só sorte, né?
Obrigado aí pelo elogio. Hoje está um pouquinho mais úmida a pista, né? A gente vai largar de slick, então sempre uma incógnita aí como seriam as primeiras voltas. Mas a estratégia é sempre a mesma, tentar fazer uma corrida constante e uma boa largada.
Boa, tá de olho no Franco ali também, quer assumir aquela primeira posição?
O pessoal anda muito bem, então tentar ir atrás deles aí para ver o que dá.
Nesse começo, a ideia é ser um pouquinho mais conservador, digamos assim, até porque a pista ainda está secando, ou não tem que arriscar logo nas primeiras voltas, principalmente na largada, né?
Acho que tem que ser conservador, sobretudo no primeiro trecho da pista está mais úmido do que o resto. Então, na largada, eu acho que é onde tem que tomar mais cuidado.
Boa, tá certo. Lucas Salles, mais cuidado então na largada. Boa sorte, ótima temporada.
Obrigado, Gabi.
Volto contigo, Luke.
Yeah, interesting chat there with Lucas Salles, the reigning sport class champion of Porsche Carrera Cup, now competing in the main class of the championship. He was talking about track condition as well, and he mentioned it an interesting factor there, Sergio, because the first sector of the track is a little bit more wet, so they have to be careful in that matter. Lucas Salles that is starting third on the grid. It would be interesting to see this restart with Lucas right beside Pedro Aguiar's car, their second in the front row, of course, and Franco Giaffoni starting on pole position. So let's see how they will approach, especially the first turn there, that right-hander that is a very high-speed corner, and of course with a little bit wet condition, it will be tricky to approach that turn.
And this is the car for Christian Ham, and it will be interesting, Carlos, that on the inside, which is the best position to start the race, we'll have Franco Giaffoni in first, then Lucas Salles in third, and Christian Ham in fifth. And yesterday's winner, Marcel Miller, will start in seventh. So that's what we have to pay attention to this left side there. Let's listen to the Brazilian national anthem. That's it. That's the Brazilian national anthem. So all the ceremonies are over for this race on Sunday, second race of the season. All the Carrera Cup drivers are there just waiting for the 5-minute mark. We soon will have the 5-minute mark, so we can have the start of the race in Goiânia. Goiânia, Carlos, which is a traditional circuit in the Brazilian motorsports calendar.
Yeah, definitely. One of the most traditional circuits that we have in our country, already in the calendar for quite a while, not just in the Porsche Cup Brazil Series, but also Stock Car Pro Series and other categories in Brazil. As I said earlier, a very high speed circuit, even though the intermediate sector is a bit slow speed and a very technical one. So, an interesting challenge for the drivers. Then we will go to Velocità, that is a quite different circuit, a little bit more slow speed and also a technical one. Then Interlagos, we also have to remember that in this year's calendar we have two trips. The first one to Portugal in Estoril, that used to be the venue of the Portugal Grand Prix, actually, of Formula One, and also to Argentina. There's no confirmation yet, but I assume that we'll once more have the Termas de Rio Hondo event. So interesting calendar, different racetracks, but Goiânia definitely one of the most traditional ones.
As we see again, the drivers will have the participation in this race as we had yesterday of Christian Fittipaldi. Christian Fittipaldi, which is not a regular of the category, will be racing Porsche number 0 in honor of his late father, Wilson Fittipaldi, or Wilson Fittipaldi Jr. There he was. Christian, it's a traditional family in Brazilian motorsports. Christian Fittipaldi's grandfather, Wilson Fittipaldi Sr., was a very well-known figure in Brazilian motorsports. He would broadcast the races in the radio, on the radio in the early times. Wilson Fittipaldi was a driver like his brother Emerson Fittipaldi, and even though he didn't achieve a Formula One championship as did Emerson, Wilson Fittipaldi participated in some Formula One races, and also he was the man behind the car built by Brazilians, the team built by Brazilians to compete in the Formula One championship. There you see some of the data for today's race. Racetrack is 28 degrees centigrade, way cooler than yesterday, Carlos, and when we had a very nice weather during most of the day.
Yeah, and of course, yesterday we were a bit afraid because the rain was approaching. Now we already had the rain earlier today, and that's why we had a wet race for the Porsche Sprint Trophy Championship. And I believe that we won't be seeing rain in the two back-to-back races that we'll have this Sunday. First the Carrera Cup one, and then the Sprint Challenge one. That's why also the track condition is a little bit cooler, and I believe that in a couple of laps it will be completely dry, especially after the whole pack passes throughout the layout, as we see now, the grid being cleared there, and in a couple of moments we'll have the restart, Sergio.
Yes, so that's good news. Again, we'll have Franco Giafone in the pole position, then Pedro Aguiar. The 5-minute mark has already been set up in the racetrack for the start, and let's listen to Gabi Guimarães once more.
Na tela da Band, seguinte, o tempo aqui em Goiânia está completamente maluco, você tem razão, a pista ainda está secando e o meu parceiro Sandrinho, repórter cinematográfico, vai mostrar para vocês como é que tá nesse momento, pelo menos aqui no grid de largada. Vocês percebem, uma parte tá seca, a outra tá molhada, principalmente nos primeiros trechos da pista, é mais ou menos essa a situação que a gente vê mesmo. Aproveito também o cenário de torcida aqui, porque todos os ingressos foram vendidos, encheram o Autódromo Internacional de Goiânia, aqui o Ayrton Senna, justamente para fazer uma festa muito bonita para a corrida número 2 da categoria Carrera.
Yeah, interesting report there from Gabi Guimarães, our track reporter. She was talking about track condition. As we explained, it is so to say the least, but I believe it will be dry. But the track is still drying. We have to remember that we had a lot of rain earlier today, but the whole pack is with slicks, and of course tire pressure also being set up for a dry race, as we see Christian Fittipaldi's car. So it will be, especially in the first 2-3 laps, interesting to see how they adapt to this track condition.
Yes, and as you mentioned yesterday, Carlos, Christian's helmet is in honor of his late father, Wilson Fittipaldi Jr. He used to use a helmet like that, and he was a great figure. Even he was victim of an accident during Christmas Day, but he, even in the last few years, he was an important figure in the Brazilian motorsports. There you have Miguel Paludo, Pedro Aguiar, and Werner Neugebauer. Each one has won 3 times there. The first winners were Ricardo Batista and Constantino Jr. in 2015. And Nicolas Costa holds the record last year. He ran his best lap in 1 minute 22 seconds, 8:57. So as I was saying, Carlos, Wilson Fittipaldi, he used to be a coach and a mentor for all drivers in the Brazilian Formula V. So he was still a name there. As we see the starting grid, Franco Giaffoni and Pedro Aguiar share the first row. Then behind them, Lucas Salles and Werner Neugebauer. Then we have behind them Christian Hahn and Miguel Paludo, third and second in yesterday's race. Winner of yesterday's race, it was Marcel Miller, starting 7th by the draw, and Christian Fittipaldi, who finished yesterday in 8th, starts in 8th, and then so on, Francisco Horta and Lineu Pires. And as you see the grid, Carlos, we are getting ready for this race that, as always happen, that as always usually happens when we have the inversion of the grid, it brings us lots of action and emotion, Carlos.
Yeah, definitely. We see some drivers theoretically out of position, let's put it that way, because Marcel Miller should be ahead of his grid position for this Sunday's race. But anyway, it will be interesting to see. And we saw that Pedro Aguiar, for example, has 3 race wins in this track. So starting second on the grid, right beside Paul Sitter, Franco Giaffoni. It's an interesting scenario. We saw also the sport class winner there, Francisco Horta. The rookie class winner was Isael Salmin. So the whole pack is quite interesting because we have some drivers out of position, but from P8 to the bottom of the grid, we have drivers that finish the first race in their grid position for race 2. So let's wait and see what they will be able to do as we once more check track conditions. I believe it will be okay, Sergio.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's wet, but it doesn't seem that much wet. You know, as we see that we should have a great start with no problem. Let's see if they will start side by side or in single file due to the track conditions. Let's see, we have the safety car there ahead of the pack, and it seems to me, Carlos, that the race director decided that they will start in single file. That's possible because they usually do that when we have tricky conditions on the track, exactly to avoid accidents, incidents in the first turn. But let's wait. So far, they are in single file. That's what it looks like. The safety car is already way ahead of the pack. It will turn right to your left. I mean, the safety car will turn to its right. It will be to your left. There it is. That's the entrance of the pits. And then Franco Giaffoni leads the pack with Pedro Aguiar, Lucas Salles, Werner Neugebauer, and Christian Hahn behind them. Always good for the start of race 2 of the 2024 Porsche Cup, Carrera Cup Championship, and it's green, green, green.
Yeah, they have to be careful in such a tricky track condition, as you explained, but Pedro Aguiar already on the charge there. We have this right-hander turn one, but the approach is quite difficult, especially when we have the track a bit wet. Gabi Guimarães, our pit report, was saying the first sector is a little bit more wet.
And there you have Werner Neugebauer going for third position, overtaking Lucas Salles. Great start by Werner Neugebauer. He was fastest on the free practice on Saturday. And we have side-by-side Miguel Paludo and Christian Ham. Miguel Paludo tried to attack Christian Ham, was not successful. Tries again Miguel Paludo, but Christian Ham prevails. And we have Christian Fittipaldi trying to overtake yesterday's winner, and he's able to overtake yesterday's winner, Marçal Miller. Great maneuver by Christian Fittipaldi, Carlos, who is now in the 7th position.
Yeah, even though Christian is retired, if we can say so, he doesn't unlearn how to drive. Former Formula 1 driver, sports car racing legend as well. So let's see what he will be able to do. And interesting to see also the battle between Christian Ham and Miguel Paludo. We saw this battle throughout most of yesterday's race. So another chapter of this rivalry.
And Werner Neugebauer is putting pressure on Pedro Aguiar. He tries the inside, tries the outside. Oh, he might go wide. No, he survives. And then also Christian Ham went a little bit wide and gave the opportunity to Miguel Paludo, who is side by side with him. And Miguel Paludo gets the position from Christian Ham. Not yet. Christian Ham battles Miguel Paludo, but now Paludo has the inside. And Christian Fittipaldi also trying to get the position from Ham, and Marçal Miller increases his pressure on Christian Fittipaldi, trying to get back his position. But Christian Fittipaldi, very experienced driver, is able to hold 7th position, Carlos. Very good start, very interesting. And Miguel, there is Christian, and Miguel Paludo will try to hold Christian Ham, who is right behind him. We see there, Christian Ham is a very fast driver, and he won't make it easy for Miguel Paludo, who already got the position.
And that's good for Lucas Salles a bit ahead, because they are losing time. And of course, Lucas Salles gains a bit of ground there, extends his advantage. The gap is now bigger. Let's see the battle ahead of the first turn, Sergio.
Miguel Paludo went to the side to avoid the pressure from Ham. Pedro Aguiar tries to get first position. He's not able to, but that's a good battle for first position there. It's Franco Giaffoni in first, Pedro Aguiar in second, and then Werner Neugebauer in third. While we see number 544 from Marçal Miller recuperating 7th position from Christian Fittipaldi. And Marcelo Ham still is putting total pressure on Miguel Paludo. Actually, Christian Ham is putting total pressure on Miguel Paludo.
Yeah, and we can assume that Miguel Paludo and Marçal Miller will be title protagonists. Let's see if Christian Ham will be able to be consistent throughout the season in order to fight for the title. And we have to remember also that Christian Fittipaldi, won't be driving the whole championship. He's replacing Paulo Souza, that is injured. Also a good opportunity for Christian to pay tribute to his late father, but it's interesting to see him battling Marçal Miller, even though he's already a retired driver, if you can say so, and he won't be competing throughout the whole season.
Pedro Aguiar still putting the pressure on Franco Giaffoni. Franco Giaffoni leads from the start. Aguiar has 3 wins in Goiânia and puts on the inside. Oh, side by side. Great save, not save, but great defense by Franco Giaffoni. Wow, great work, and it seems to me that Christian Ham got the position from Miguel Paludo. So Christian Ham is ahead of Miguel Paludo, is in 5th. Miguel Paludo is in 6th, and now he has Marçal Miller right behind him.
Yeah, and who benefits from that battle, as I said, is Lucas Salles, already a bit ahead, and Marçal Miller is getting closer and closer. So if Miguel Paludo and Christian Hahn, they lose time battling against each other, it will be an interesting situation for Marçal. Let's see if Christian will be able to catch up once again.
Race is 25 minutes plus 1 lap. We have a little bit over 5 minutes of racing. There you have Miguel Paludo trying to defend himself from number 544. This is only the second race of the championship. And there we have number 77 of Francisco Horta. Francisco Horta, who is the first driver among the sport class drivers. So he's leading the sport class drivers, followed by Lineu Pires, who drives the Porsche number 888.
Yeah, the battle in the sport class is quite interesting as well, because from the qualifying session we had a three-way fight there with Peter Verten, Lineu Pires that was able to claim pole position. In the first moment it appeared that Peter Verten would be starting ahead, but Lineu was able to bounce back. But in race pace, Francisco Horta has been very consistent so far, so interesting fight in that class as well. In the rookie class, as we explained, we had the race win of Israel Salman yesterday, and fastest lap so far set by Christian Hahn. He opens a bit of a gap compared to Miguel Paludo and Marçal Miller, etc.
Exactly. Let's wait and see if Christian Hahn is able to get to Lucas Salles. Then we might have like almost 5 drivers fighting for the first position. Of course, right now the battle is stronger between the first 3 drivers, but Lucas Salles is there very close in 4th position, and Christian Hahn is getting closer to Lucas Salles. I think, Carlos, that Christian Hahn might be a contender for the championship as well. He finished 3rd yesterday and he's doing a good job. I see on the left side Miguel Paludo trying to protect himself from the attack of Marçal Miller. Miguel Paludo is the red Porsche, Marçal Miller is this one, number 544. He tries on the outside of Miguel Paludo. Wow, and battle for 2nd position. Werner Neugebauer gets the position. Lucas Salles also puts Pedro Aguiar behind. So Pedro Aguiar loses 2 positions in a row, and behind them we still see the battle between Miguel Paludo and Marçal Miller. So now we have, with the same sponsors, Franco Giafone in 1st, and then we have Werner Neugebauer, who is very aggressive and is looking forward for his first victory this season, Carl.
Yeah, so far so good for the Marte sponsored drivers there. 1-2, but Pedro Aguiar missed the breaking point there apparently, and of course Werner Neugebauer was able to capitalize. Also Lucas Salles, it was an important overtaking maneuver by Lucas Salles because Christian Hahn is getting closer. As you said, potential title contender, I would say. He's a former endurance champion, if I'm not wrong. And of course, if Pedro Aguiar has 3 race wins in this racetrack, we have to remember that Werner Neugebauer also has. So let's see if the Marte sponsored drivers will be protagonists of a race win battle there ahead of the pack.
And there you have again, this battle is very good. First and between Miguel Paludo and Marçal Miller. Miguel Paludo gets again closer to Christian Hahn. He has the inside, they might touch. Very nice battle. They avoid the touching, and Christian Hahn stays ahead of Miguel Paludo with Marçal Miller right behind them. This is the battle for 5th position, and here we have the battle for 1st. And we see clearly, Carlos, that Werner Neugebauer is getting close to Franco Giafone as number 84 gets off track.
Gustavo Farah.
That's a car, Gustavo Farah, exactly.
Yeah, we have to see the replay because we saw him rejoining the track, but I didn't see what happened in the first moment. As we see the gaps there, just 0.4 of a second between Franco Giafani and Werner Neugebauer. Lucas Salles isn't that far, but now apparently Pedro Aguiar is getting closer to the car number 70. So interesting scenario ahead of the pack. We need to check how the situation is in the intermediate classes, sport and rookie classes, but ahead of the pack, very action-packed race.
Look at battle for first position. Werner Neugebauer is getting closer and closer. Miguel Paludo defends himself again from Marçal Miller. At the same time, he's trying to attack Marcelo Ram and again puts on the inside of Marcelo Ram. Side by side, Miguel Paludo and Marcelo Ram. Miguel Paludo has the inside position, but Marcelo Ram, Christian Ram, pardon me, is a fierce competitor, and so far he's been able to hold side by side with Miguel Paludo. Look at that, what a great battle, 3 side by side in the Goiânia International Circuit. Christian Ram goes wide. Christian Ram goes wide and loses 2 positions. Carlos Costa, he falls. And then now we have Miguel Paludo in 5th with Marçal Miller in the 6th position. And let's check where did Christian Ram follow, and you can guide us there, Carlos.
Yeah, he went a bit wide, missed the breaking point. Actually, he shouldn't be that aggressive in the defensive maneuver there. Ooh, change of
for the first position, Werner Neugebauer is the new leader in Goiânia. Werner Neugebauer, great work by him. He started in the 4th position and now he leads race 2 of the championship. Marçal Miller goes side by side with Miguel Paludo. These two might battle for the championship, and Marçal Miller gets 5th position from Miguel Paludo. Miguel Paludo is 6th now. Having a great weekend, Marçal Miller, he won the first race. Miguel Paludo was 2nd, but now Marçal Miller sees himself again ahead of Miguel Paludo, which probably will put him as the championship leader after this first round in Goiânia, as we see again the overtake. Beautiful maneuver by Marçal Miller, Carlos.
Yeah, Marçal Miller finally has been able to get rid of Miguel Paludo. Paludo was ahead of him for the first stage of the race at least, and of course in the previous moment we also had Chris Hahn. As I was saying, Chris was a bit aggressive in the defending maneuver there, so he lost a point because he was trying to block Marçal Miller's attack. Eventually he lost ground. He's in this moment behind Christian Fittipaldi, and that allowed Marçal Miller to attack Miguel Paludo, because in the first moment Miller was behind both Paludo and Hahn. And ahead of the pack we could expect Neugebauer to attack Franco Giafani. We have to remember that Neugebauer is main Carrera Cup class driver for quite a while, and Franco Giafani is a former sport class driver, so theoretically Werner Neugebauer is a level above.
Yes, and Werner Neugebauer is being able to open. He builds a good gap between him and 2nd place Franco Giafani, and Lucas Salles is there in 3rd, still trying to approach Franco Giafani. And it seems to me, Carlos, that Marçal Miller is getting close to the pack. He's getting close to 4th place Pedro Aguiar. Let's follow the differences. Last lap from Pedro Aguiar was 1:25.716. Marçal Miller 1:25.381. So slowly he is approaching Pedro Aguiar in what could be the battle for 4th position.
Yeah, let's see if there is any safety car deployment or something like that, because in this moment Neugebauer has a good lead, good margin there.
Tá chegando aqui já essa chuva,
gap,
sim,
and the
viu?
advantage
Inclusive,
is
a
quite
já
meaningful,
começa a sofrer
as
com os primeiros
Gabi
pingos.
Guimarães
Vocês
reports
falaram do
raindrops.
Lucas Salles, vale lembrar que na corrida número 1 aqui na etapa de Goiânia no ano passado, ele é quem foi o vencedor.
Let's see. She reports raindrops. Apparently, it isn't representative enough to make the track condition a little bit trickier. It's not wet in this moment, as Francisco Horta still leads the sport class in this moment, ahead of Daniel Pires. So they have been battling against each other from the race start, Sergio.
Yes, and right behind them we have Raijan Mascarello, and with the number 800, oh, look at that, Roman Zinkiewicz going off track. Roman Zinkiewicz, who is not having a great weekend, he was in the 15th position. And there we see again what happened with him.
Yeah, missed the braking point there, right in the apex of the corner, so lost the backhand of the car completely, and then he couldn't do anything to avoid
Eu quero uma
the
palhinha,
spin.
quero uma palhinha.
The good thing for him is that he wasn't stuck on the gravel trap, Sergio.
Yes, and Lucas Salles is getting the second position from Franco Giafone. And look at Marçal Miller, he's right there. Marçal Miller, number 544. Pedro Aguiar tries as well to get position from Franco Giafone, 3 side to side. And look at what a maneuver by Marçal Miller. That's beautiful racing, Carlos. And Marçal Miller gets 2 positions at the same time. He advances there, wow, from 5th to 3rd, to 4th. That's incredible, his work. Actually from 5th to 3rd. From 5th to 3rd, he advances 2 positions. Great work by Marçal Miller, who right now is behind Lucas Salles, who is 2nd.
That's right, he gained 2 positions there, so overtaking both Pedro Aguiar and Franco Giafone. Giafone losing a bit of pace there. Pedro Aguiar also losing ground, and now Marçal Miller will attack Lucas Salles. Lucas, that is a former sport class driver, so it will be an interesting battle there.
Oh, Fittipaldi and Christian Ham. Fittipaldi, the blue, dark blue is Christian Ham, exactly. The battle of the Christians.
We saw them rejoining the track, but the replay doesn't show what happened in the first moment of the incident. Let's see if there's any replay in the following moments. And now Marçal Miller getting closer and closer.
What a race by Marçal Miller. He started 7th, he is 3rd, and now he's attacking Lucas Salles. He will get the 2nd position. That looked easy, Carlos, and I think that was easy for Marçal Miller, giving a driving class to Lucas Salles. And Lucas Salles is a good driver, but Marçal Miller really showed that he masters racing, and he's ahead of Lucas Salles. I just don't know, Carlos, with 7 minutes, a little bit over 7 minutes to go, plus 1 lap, if now Marçal Miller will be able to get to Werner Neugebauer, because the distance is over 3 seconds.
O Marçal, inclusive, Luke,
communication from the stewards. Incident between Christian Hahn and Christian Fittipaldi being investigated, and now we see the replay there. The onboard cam. Ooh, apparently Christian Hahn touched the side of Fittipaldi's car. Of course, we are checking the onboard camera of Fittipaldi. We have to see the whole incident from different perspectives there, but anyway, I don't think that Marçal Miller will be able to catch up. Neugebauer has a good lead in this moment. Of course, tire management is an issue as well, but very good drive from Marçal Miller up to this moment, and he did what he had to do ahead of the main straight there, because he was very fast right after the last turn, so his speed there in the main straight was.
And this is the battle for the sport class. Carlos, number 77, is leading. Francisco now is 7th after the incident between Christian Hahn and Christian Fittipaldi, but Daniel Pires is right behind him since the start of the race. He is close, but so far he hasn't been able to overtake Francisco Horta is having a great weekend. He won yesterday's sports class race, and it seems, Carlos, that he might win it again with a little bit over 5 minutes to go plus the one lap. And look at Pedro Aguiar trying to defend himself from Miguel Paludo. Miguel Paludo doesn't seem to have the same performance as he had yesterday, but he still have time at least to get one position there. Pedro Aguiar goes to attack Franco Giaffoni. Miguel Paludo is behind him. Now Miguel Paludo tries another line, but it stays the same, Carlos. Franco Giaffoni is doing a good defense right now of his position after starting in first pole position. He is in fourth right now.
Yeah, there we see the confirmation that Israel Salman is leading the rookie class. And talking a bit about actually the battle of the sport class, Sergio, I can only imagine how tired Francisco Horta will be after this race, because he's under pressure from Lineu Pires from the race start. So already 20 minutes in this pace. It's quite demanding from the driver.
The difference between Werner Neugebauer and Marcel Miller remains over 3 seconds. Lucas Salles is in a comfortable third position. So the real battle right now is for four. We have Franco Giaffoni, Pedro Aguiar, and Miguel Paludo. They are pretty much one behind the other. In the sport class, Francisco Horta leads, followed by Lineu Pires, Raijan Mascarello, and Nelson Marcondes. And in the rookie class, Israel Salman leads, followed by Leo Sanchez and Edu Guedes. But Israel Salman is way ahead of these two other drivers, as in between them, between Israel Salman, first in the rookie class, and Leo Sanchez, second, we have 3 drivers from the sport class. This is Lucas Salles. Then we see battle for fourth. It seems to me, Carlos, that now Franco Giaffoni in fourth is a little bit more comfortable there with Pedro Aguiar, with a little gap being built between him and Pedro Aguiar.
Yeah, and also interesting to see that the gap between Neugebauer and Miller isn't that big in this moment, Sergio. So any mistake from Neugebauer will be very costly. We have 2 minutes to go still, plus 1 lap. So let's see if Werner will be able to manage his situation, his advantage there, as we check the overtaking maneuver by Gustavo Farah, passing Piero Cifali there.
Yeah, that was battle for 23rd position. And look at that, Pedro Aguiar, he gets the position from Franco Giaffoni. Miguel Paludo gets the position on the inside. He has to hold his foot on the throttle to avoid an accident. But Pedro Aguiar finally gets the position from Franco Giaffoni with less than 2 minutes to go. Great work by Pedro Aguiar, but it seems difficult that he will be able to approach Lucas Salles in third. So now the battle we have, Carlos, is this one there between Miguel Paludo and Franco Giaffoni for 5th position.
Yeah, as we see Gustavo Farah, he actually lost position to Piero Cifali after trying the overtaking maneuver. A bit slow in this moment, but Miguel Paludo is trying, still trying.
There it is, Miguel Paludo goes on the inside and he gets the position, Carlos. He gets the position. Yeah, Franco Giaffoni went too wide there. it gave the opportunity for Miguel Paludo. Miguel Paludo, it's a more experienced driver, Carlos, and I believe he kind of a little bit of tricked Franco Giaffoni there, and he was able to get the position, so now he's in 5th. Francisco Horta is still in 7th, followed by Lineu Pires. Horta built a little bit of an advantage now over Lineu Pires, we can see there. Then they will turn left now on top of your image, and we see, Carlos, that at this point pretty much Francisco Horta is guaranteeing his 2nd victory this weekend on the sport class.
Yeah, he opened a bit of a gap ahead of Lineu Pires. Anyway, good weekend for Lineu Pires, even though he was outperformed by Francisco Horta, but Francisco was in a league of his own in the sport class this weekend. Interesting performance also from Israel Salman in the rookie class, and apparently Neugbauer is en route to a race win, and what a drive from him, because he had to attack from the very beginning.
This is Werner Neugbauer, last lap for him. Last lap for him to get his first winner's trophy in the 2024 Porsche Carrera Cup season, commemorating the 20th year of Porsche Cup racing in Brazil, a journey that started in Interlagos with just a handful of cars, of drivers, but it has grown to be one of the main motorsports categories in Brazil. And there we have the winner's music here. Last moments for Werner Neugbauer. He overtakes a driver there, not for position. He just has to remain calm, to remain in control of his machine to get his first victory. He has a huge advantage at this point of 2nd place. Marçal Miller is going to get the checkered flag. Marçal Miller got it yesterday, but now it's the time for Werner Neugbauer winning in the International Goiânia racetrack. Marçal Miller will be 2nd, then Lucas Salles, Pedro Guiar, Miguel Paludo, and Franco Giaffoni. Francisco Horta is the winner for the sport class, and we are going to confirm, but the winner for the rookie class will be Israel Salman. It's confirmed, and great victory by Werner Neugbauer. Carlos, great race for Marçal Miller, and lots of action on the 2nd race of the Carrera Cup season.
Yeah, very interesting race. Just talking a bit about Werner Neugbauer, the race winner, we have to remember that he started 4th on the grid, so he had to overtake 3 drivers in order to get the lead, and then once he got to the lead position, he was able to open a good gap there after overtaking Franco Giaffoni, that is sponsored by the same brand. But anyway, he didn't leave room for Marçal Miller to get closer. Marçal also a highlight of this Carrera Cup race, and we have to mention 2 race wins for both Francisco Horta and Israel Salman, winners of the sport and the rookie class respectively. So what a weekend for both of them, and what a race we just had.
Yeah, so they lead their classes, and leading the main category, or the main class, let's put it this way, the overall championship, easily it will be Marçal Miller with a 1st place yesterday and a 2nd place today. Miguel Paludo, who finished 2nd yesterday, got a 5th position today, so it was not a great race for him, at least it was not as he was expecting. And Werner Neugbauer, which was fastest on Friday's free practice, gets his victory. Great work by him. We saw there number 0 for Christian Fittipaldi. Christian Fittipaldi involved in that incident with Christian Hahn, finished in the 11th position.
And Neugbauer with a pretty decent amount of points after this weekend's round. He was 4th on yesterday's race and now winning the second race. Important performance and a good reaction from him because he started 3rd on the grid yesterday, if I'm not wrong, and lost a position to Christian Hahn. Christian Hahn, that eventually was one of the guys with bad luck in today's race. He was fighting in the top 5 for a while, but then went a bit wide in that defensive maneuver. He went a bit wide and lost a lot of positions. He was fighting against Miguel Paludo and Marçal Miller, as you see Francisco Horta and Israel Salman as well.
We have now the winner for the sport class, Francisco Horta. I would guess, Carlos, we don't have the math yet, the official championship standings, but I would guess that, I'm sure that Marçal Miller leads, but
Yes.
I believe that Werner Neugebauer would be second, followed by Miguel Paludo.
Yeah, I think so. 28 points, if I'm not wrong, for Marçal Miller yesterday, and now 25 to Werner Neugebauer. Let's hear from him.
Sem contar que houve uma mudança, né, da corrida de ontem para a corrida de hoje no setup do carro. Quanto isso influenciou e parabéns pela primeira vitória do ano.
Muito obrigado. Influenciou bastante. A gente tinha bastante potencial desde os treinos, economizando bastante pneu. E felizmente a gente não conseguiu fazer o Q2 que a gente queria por um erro nosso. E depois a primeira corrida também a gente não tinha o melhor setup, não tinha o melhor equilíbrio do carro. A gente pensou bastante, conversou bastante no box e mudou bastante o equilíbrio do carro para essa corrida. E aí na largada eu sabia que eu tinha que atacar logo para tentar abrir uma vantagem e deu certo, foi o que eu consegui fazer. No começo estava meio preocupado com o Franco, meu companheiro de equipe, mas eu consegui fazer uma ultrapassagem limpa e ganhar a corrida.
Foi de fato, conforme a pista foi secando, isso foi sendo melhor para vocês também, porque ela estava um pouco úmida ainda, né?
Foi, obviamente foi. Depois no meio da corrida começou a pingar, eu fiquei um pouco preocupado, mas no final a gente já tinha uma vantagem confortável, foi mais administrar o ritmo.
Boa, muito obrigada, Werner, parabéns e que você faça uma ótima temporada mais uma vez.
Vamos!
Interesting interview there with Werner Neugebauer. Werner actually talked about the whole weekend already, mentioning, of course, his race win today, but also the qualifying session yesterday and race 1. He said that he made a mistake in the decisive qualifying session. Then the setup of the car wasn't that good in race 1. He changed a bit the balance of the car for race 2, and it paid off. He said that he knew that he had to be aggressive from the very beginning. The track was getting drier and drier, but in the middle of the race there were some raindrops. He got a bit concerned, but eventually it stopped, and now we have a totally dry and slick condition for the Sprint Challenge race that will be coming shortly as we see the confirmation of the results. Sergio.
Exactly. Werner Neugebauer, Marçal Miller, Lucas Salles, Pedro Aguiar, Miguel Paludo, Franco Giafone, Horta, Lineu Pires, Nelson Marcondes, Raijan Mascarello. There we see the podium for the top 5. Number 5 there, Miguel Paludo, Pedro Aguiar in 4th, Lucas Salles in 3rd, Marçal Miller in 2nd. Marçal Miller is smiling, great race for him. And Werner Neugebauer also is commemorating, Carlos.
Yeah, and he has to do so, bouncing back from a difficult Saturday for him after leading the practice sessions and establishing the benchmark in terms of lap time before the quali. But as he explained, the setup of the car wasn't that good for race 1, and he made a mistake in the decisive qualifying session. But now, with a very good performance, we have to praise Marçal Miller's race as well, starting from 7th on the grid and finishing 2nd. Then we see there Lucas Salles 3rd, Pedro Aguiar 4th, and Miguel Paludo 5th. I believe Miguel won't be that happy because he's a little bit more ambitious, but an important result for him, bagging points and getting always close to the lead position of the championship.
There's the winner Vanya Neubauer, and soon we will have the Sprint Challenge Porsches on the track. The start will be right after the podium or during the podium. They are already hitting the track, unlike when it happened the Carrera Cup. They don't stay there they start already with the formation lap, so it's fast between race 2 of the season for Carrera Cup and race 2 of Sprint Challenge. So in that sense, stay there because you don't want to miss any of this action here, Carlos. And there we have the podium there for the sport class. And on top we have Francisco Horta. Lineu Pires will receive now the trophy. And then Francisco Horta.
Yeah, 2 race wins, as we pointed out. Lineu Pires with a good amount of points. Nelson Marcondes 3rd there. We also see Rajan Mascarello and Peter Ferter in the final positions of the podium. But as you said, we still have the Sprint Challenge Race 2 to come. So stay tuned because it's always action-packed and a little bit crazier actually than Carrera Cup's race. So we can assume it will be quite interesting and exciting, as we will have shortly the rookie class podium as well.
There you have the highlights for Francisco Horta. He led Carlos from the beginning to the end, right? From the start to the end. He was the leader for sports class with Lineu Pires right behind him. Even though Lineu Pires pretty much had the same rhythm, except at the end of the race, he was never able actually to challenge Francisco Horta. Piero Cefali, number 5th in the rookie class. Edu Guedes, 4th place. Then Gustavo Zanon. Léo Sanchez. And then the great winner, Israel Salman.
Yeah, also 2 race wins this weekend, so an important round for him in terms of championship standings, obviously. Very dominant performance from Israel Salman in the rookie class, as did Francisco Horta. But talking a bit about Horta's race, especially today, it was, I believe, a very difficult race because he was under pressure from Lineu Pires throughout most of the race. As I said, in the end, eventually Pires lost a bit of pace, but in the first moments it was a very difficult race for Francisco Horta. Now we see highlights from Israel Salman in this race.
And now we see already the cars for the Sprint Challenge, the Porsches. First position, pole position for Sang-Ho Kim. He finished 8th. Yesterday, Caio Castro alongside him, Luis Souza and Antonella Bassani in the 2nd row. Then we have Célio Brasil and Seba Malucelli, yesterday's winner in the sport class. Then Sadak Leite and Miguel Mariotti. And then Giuliano Bertuccelli and Caio Chaves. Mariotti was the winner yesterday, who started in 8th. Lucas Locatelli and Wagner Pontes in the 6th row. Then behind them, Paulo Totaro and Eric Santos. Then on the 8th row, we have Marco Túlio and Claudio Simão. Then Gerson Campos and Matheus Roque. Rounding the top 20, we have Christian Moore and Claudio Reina. Christian Moore was a protagonist in the race yesterday. He was involved in a few incidents. Alceu Neto and Leonardo Herman finished the grid. This is the grid, 22 cars. We had 27 cars in the Carrera Cup and now 22 cars in the Sprint Challenge, Carlos. So it's 5 cars less, even though we have 49 cars competing on the weekend, plus the 16 from the sprint trophy. And now, Carlos, we will have a start side by side.
Yeah, the track is completely dry, so they don't need to be careful in the approach of the rolling start. The rolling start, that is the standard procedure.
Sango Joaquin on your left side, number 71, Caio Castro, number 22, alongside him. Behind Castro in the fourth position, we have Antonella Bassani. Behind Sango Joaquin in the third position, we have Luis Souza as they approach the main straight to start the race 2 for the Sprint Challenge 2024 season. Red lights are on. Drivers are just waiting. They start to hit the throttle and it's green. Antonella Bassani on the outside attacking Caio Castro. Sango Joaquin keeps on the inside his first position so far. Look behind the three side by side, but Caio Castro at the end gets the first position. Antonella Bassani on the inside. She might get the position from Caio Castro. They are side by side. Sango Joaquin falls to third. Antonella Bassani, what a great start for her, who is last year's champion. And Caio Castro side by side with Sango Joaquin. That was amazing, Carlos. Oh, Sango Joaquin goes wide. He receives a touch, apparently, and goes off track. Bye-bye pole position, Carlos. What a bad moment for him.
Yeah, what a shame starting ahead of the pack, even though he lost the lead position right after the restart. Interesting jump, if we can say so, from Caio Castro. And let's see if the safety car will be deployed, because he's in a runoff area there. Anyway, interesting restart also from Antonella Bassani, the reigning champion, that will be aiming for a race win today. She had a pretty decent result yesterday with fifth position in the checkered flag, but she can do more and she knows that.
We see the battle there with Miguel Mariotti trying to get a position. Miguel Mariotti was yesterday's winner and he's trying to get the position, and he gets from Luis Souza. So Luis Souza falls one position, he falls to seventh position, and Miguel Mariotti now is sixth. There he is, very dangerous driver. Carlos, we should expect him to advance some more positions, while we see Antonella Bassani followed by Caio Castro and Célio Brasil in the top three of this race in Goiânia. Carlos, guide us again through this incredible start of the race.
Yeah, it was quite nice because Antonella Bassani was able to attack in the outside line there. Caio Castro, as I said, had a good jump. In the first moment, Sango Joaquin reacted well, but eventually he lost ground. So it was a three-way fight there in the very first moment of the opening lap. But eventually Antonella prevailed, and Sango Joaquin in the middle of the lap spun there. We have to check the replay now. We see it. I don't know if there was a touch, Sergio.
Yeah, I'm doubting now as well.
But a weird incident anyway.
And there he is, all by himself. Sango Joaquin is last, he's dead last, Carlos. In the 22nd position. Let's listen to Gabi Guimarães.
Conseguiu a sua primeira vitória na categoria, se tornando a primeira mulher a vencer uma prova da Porsche Cup Brasil.
Yeah, the information about Antonella Bassani's race win at Goiânia last year, it was her first victory and the first victory of a female driver in Porsche Cup Brazil. So she has important history in this track.
Carlos, Caio Castro is right behind her. He's not giving her many chances. He's putting total pressure on Antonella Bassani, and Célio Brasil is in a close third place. So we have a battle for first, and we also have a battle for fourth position with Sadak Leite and Seba Malucelli. There we have the white Porsche from Sadaki Leite in fourth, and then behind him, Seba Malucelli with the Porsche number 100.
And what a race so far from Série Brasil, a sport class driver, as you see an issue with Marco Tulio's car there. Let's see if he will be able to proceed in the race. And now, pressure there. Miguel Mariotti attacking Sadaki Leite.
Yeah, I thought it was Seba Malucelli, but it was already Miguel Mariotti. What an advance by Miguel Mariotti. He started 8th. Of course, Sango Kim lost track, and he's going to get the position, Carlos. Look how close he gets there. Very aggressive Miguel Mariotti, and he should be able to overtake number 66 of Sadaki Leite.
Yeah, Mariotti clocked the best lap time so far. An interesting battle there between the two of them now in the intermediate sector, which is a little bit more slow speed. And they are side by side in a lot of corners there, Sergio.
We see how aggressive Miguel Mariotti is. He won yesterday. He wants to keep the championship lead. He's battling right now for fourth. And I believe, Carlos, that if he overtakes Sadaki Leite, it's not going to be that difficult for him to get to Série Brasil in third. But he has to do it soon. If it takes too long, then the first three drivers might open a wider gap to fourth and fifth.
Yeah, and tire management is an issue as well, because battling for position, theoretically, they degrade the tires a little bit more. So let's see if Mariotti will be able to overtake soon and then try to catch up with Célio Brasil. Once more, I highlight the good race that has been done so far by Célio, that is a driver from the sport class, Lucas Locatelli, leading the rookie class.
Parada nos boxes, estourou a mangueira do radiador, por isso ele está aqui nos boxes para solucionar esse problema.
Yeah, information about Marco Tulio's issue there with the radiator. That's the problem, and apparently he will retire.
This is Caio Chaves, who won in yesterday's rookie class. He stays ahead in the rookie class today. He was also pole position for the rookie class today. And he has Leonardo Herman and Giuliano Bertuccelli, both from sport class, between him and the second place in the rookie class, Wagner Pontes. So it's a very comfortable advantage up to now, Carlos, for Caio Chaves.
Yeah, Lucas was in a good position, Lucas Locatelli, but Caio Chaves was able to claim the lead position of the class. Caio, that is a fast driver, still very young, 16 years old only, but good attitude and a very aggressive driver, as we see that, Gerson Campos' car is a bit wrecked there.
Another driver that's really advancing, Carlos, is this, number 3. Not the number 82 of Gerson Campos, but number 3 of Christian Moore. He came from way behind. He came from the 19th position. He's already in 9th right now, attacking Gerson Campos for the 8th position. So great race so far by Christian Moore. And we have again the image of first and second places. They are now separated from third place, Célio Brasil. Caio Castro remaining close to Antonella Bassani, and Miguel Mariotti is still not able to overtake Sadaki Leite. Carlos, Sadaki Leite is doing a very good work of defending himself from Miguel Mariotti.
Yeah, hats off to Sadaki, because Mariotti is a fast driver, and interesting to see that Caio Castro and Antonella Bassani are very close to each other in terms of race pace. Of course, the gap isn't big as well. And just to mention Christian Moore performance so far, Moore had a difficult race yesterday. Oh, there it is.
Oh,
Castro.
for the first position, Caio Castro. Caio Castro gets the first position from Antonella Bassani. Great work by number 22, Caio Castro. Yesterday, he had a great result after falling behind after an incident. He is also a very aggressive driver, and he waited for the right moment, Carlos, to overtake Bassani, who did a mistake there.
Yeah, she made a mistake, as you said, missed the braking point in that right-hander, and then the door was open for Caio Castro to do the overtaking maneuver. Let's see if she will be able to bounce back, as they now are lapping San Joaquin, the procedure. Difficult race for the South Korean driver. And I was talking about Christian Moore. He was one of the protagonists yesterday, fighting in the top 3 there, but had an issue and had to retire the car. So he's definitely out of position in terms of his grid place for today, but already climbing a lot in Sunday's race.
Célio Brasil overtakes San Joaquin, who is behind. It's not a fight for position. Antonella Bassani remains around half a second behind Caio Castro, but she's losing ground, Carlos. She's clearly losing ground to first place Caio Castro.
In 2022, last year he was competing in the Truck Cup in Brazil, but now back to Porsche in the Sprint Challenge Championship and already outperforming the reigning champion, that is Antonella Bassani. So we have to praise what Caio Castro is doing. Let's see if he will be able to be consistent throughout the season, because we know that he's fast. He showed his credentials in that matter already in 2022, but eventually he lost a bit of ground in the championship standings because
Caio
of
Castro conseguiu
consistency
passar a Antonella
problems.
Bassani e ele também não deu uma vida muito fácil para o Miguel Mariotti na corrida número 1 de ontem, e hoje incomoda, aliás, já até ultrapassou a Antonella. E uma curiosidade, ele esse ano, nesse retorno depois de um ano fora, vai homenagear o Ayrton Senna, já que em maio completa 30 anos que o tricampeão da Fórmula 1 nos deixou.
Interesting information there from Gabi Guimarães, our track reporter. She is saying that Caio Castro will pay tribute to Ayrton Senna. Ayrton Senna that died in 1994. So, of course, we have to remember his legacy, and Caio Castro will be paying tribute to the 3-time Formula 1 world champion from Brazil.
Miguel Mariotti, put side by side with Sadak Leighton, gets the 4th position. Finally, he was there. He was clearly faster than Sadak Leighton. Sadak Leighton put a very good defense, but at the end, it was not enough. Miguel Mariotti now will try to get close to Célio Brasil in what would be the battle for 3rd position. And I believe he will be able to do this, Carlos. Even though last lap he was slower than Célio Brasil, but he was battling with Sadak Leighton. And now he's not battling with anyone, where you see Claudio Reina losing the car. And there he is. He's way behind.
And Mariotti already close to Célio Brasil. Célio Brasil still. Whoa, what happened?
Oh, Caio Castro! What bad moment for Caio Castro. He was leading, he was having a great race, and that might be it for him. Carlos, he goes on the outside tires to put his Porsche in a safe place. Let's see what happened. Maybe a flat tire, I don't know. Something happened to his car.
Weird. I don't know what happened.
Or suspension, problem with suspension, or it's weird, flat tire.
Yeah, because there's no puncture there, and these cars are very reliable. So it's quite rare to see engine problems, so maybe something with the suspension, as now Mariotti puts pressure on Sério Brasil.
So now this is the battle for second place. It's Miguel Mariotti trying to get to Sério Brasil. What a race by Miguel Mariotti with still more than 10 minutes to go. And Antonella Bassani better watch out, Carlos, because Miguel Mariotti is on a mission. Look at that, he goes on the inside of Sério Brasil. Sério Brasil so far has a defense, but Miguel Mariotti at the end of the straight will have the position on the inside. He already is ahead of Sério Brasil. That's it for Sério Brasil, third place for him. Miguel Mariotti is the new second place, and now he'll go after the race's leader, Antonella Bassani. That could be a great battle, Carlos. We still have 10 minutes plus 1 lap to go.
Yeah, a lot of racing still, and the big question mark is the one you pointed out. Will Miguel Mariotti actually be able to get closer to Antonella Bassani, because Sério Brasil is losing pace as we see in this moment. Sadak Leite also approaching. Apparently, Sério is struggling a bit in terms of race pace. I don't know if there's an issue in terms of tire management or anything like that, because he was quite comfortable, and then eventually Mariotti was able to get there and overtake, and now Sadak Leite on the chart.
Let's see when they cross the start-finish line again, because we should have their times in this last lap. The lap before, Bassani was faster than Mariotti, but now Mariotti has had clean track ahead of him, so it's different now, and he's faster than Antonella Bassani. Antonella Bassani 1:28.013, and Miguel Mariotti 1:27.652. So it was almost 4/10 of a second faster. Almost Caio Castro, we see him outside of his car.
Imagina, né? Não é uma definição ainda, que provavelmente ele perdeu a tração e talvez tenha quebrado o eixo de piloto.
Interesting information there. He lost traction, and that's probably an issue with the axle of the car. So that's an explanation for his issue, because all of a sudden he lost performance.
And we see there already Carlos number 3 of Christian Moore in 5th, ahead of Seba Malucelli. So Sério Brasil leads the sport class. Seba Malucelli is second, and that's the moment when Christian Moore got the 5th position. You have to remember that Christian Moore started in 19th, but we know he's a top driver of the category. He always challenges for victories or good results. He has many podiums in the Sprint Challenge, Porsche Cup Sprint Challenge. So there he is in 5th, but a little bit distant at this point of Sadak Leite, who is in 4th, Carlos.
Yeah, and there we see Christian Moore clocking the best lap time so far. As you said, he's out of position because of the incident on yesterday's race. So started 19th on the grid and now bouncing back. Definitely one guy that we can expect to be fighting for the title. But a difficult first round for him, as we see now Caio Chaves. What a weekend for Caio Chaves. Once more, we have to highlight, only 16 years old.
Yes, Caio Chaves doing a great race. And again, in the last lap, Miguel Mariotti was 2 to 3 tenths of a second faster than Antonella Bassani. We see now the visual difference between the two cars. Now it's under 1.5 seconds. Of course, he has to get close to Antonella Bassani, and then he has to overtake her, which we all know it's harder. It's easier to get close than to overtake, but hey, that will be his opportunity.
Caio que ontem
And
venceu
he's
sua
getting closer.
primeira
Now
corrida na
Célio
categoria,
Brasil
né?
as his first, his best lap, the best lap of the race. Célio Brasil, great work by him.
Yeah, and an important reaction from Sábado Brasil because he was under pressure from Sadaki Leite, and now once more establishing and being able to have a good race pace there, fending off Sadaki's attack and opening a bit of a gap. We still see that Gerson Campos' car has a loose part there in the front end of the machine.
And that's interesting there, look at Caio Castro, still in despair. Carlos, it's interesting to see that Christian Moore, even though he's coming from behind, he overtook Seba Malucelli with the Porsche 100, but he's not being able to open a gap. He's a little bit ahead, but it's not like he went way ahead. Slowly he's getting ahead, but I would have expected a better advance from Christian Moore. And we saw there Luis Souza losing a little bit of the track. It's the green and I believe orange Porsche that we saw there in the aerial image. And
Yes.
we have back the first two drivers. And now this last lap, Carlos, Miguel Mariotti was slower than Antonella Bassani. So it's good news for the driver of the Porsche number 72.
Yeah, but still 4 minutes to go. Any mistake can be very costly. The gap isn't that big, even though I assume that Antonella Bassani will be able to manage the advantage there. She's already experienced, even though she's still very young, only 17 years old, but the reigning champion already, so pressure is not an issue for her anymore, and we talked about that yesterday in the qualifying broadcast. She's way more confident compared to when she made her debut in this series. An interesting fight there, also Feldman Neto and Marco Tur.
We see Alcel Fábio. Marco Túlio is behind Carlos. He is a few laps behind, but we saw Alcel Feldman Neto with his grandson in 15th position, and he is from the rookie class. In the rookie class, he is, I believe, let me see, in the 4th position. Caio Chaves is first, Wagner Pontes is second, Eric Santos is third, and then Alceu Feldman Neto is 4th in the rookie class. That's the onboard with Bassani.
Yeah, just talking about the car a bit, interesting to mention the gap of power between the Carrera Cup and the Sprint Challenge cars. In the Carrera Cup, we have the Porsche 992 model with up to 510 horsepower. This Sprint Challenge Championship uses the Porsche 991-2 with up to 485 horsepower. So it's not such a big difference, even though it makes a bit of a difference in terms of lap time, and Antonella Bassani being able to fend off any charge from Miguel Mariotti. Let's see if she will be able to, of course, maintain this gap until the final lap, because there's, I would say, 3 laps to go or something like that, Sergio.
Yeah, but she still keeps a distance, a time difference between 1 second to Miguel Mariotti, even though in the last lap she was, actually in the last lap she was faster than Mariotti. Because the lap before Mariotti was faster, but in this last lap she did 1:27.540 and Mariotti 1:27.987. So I would say, Carlos, at this point, Antonella Bassani has to concentrate not to make any mistake. Like when she was overtaken by Caio Castro, we saw she had a mistake. But now she has to take care, she has to concentrate, and she might be able to get her first win this season, Carlos, in a great racing for her, who started in the 4th position.
Ooh, is that Claudio Simon? Went way wide there, passing a lot of the curb section there. Eventually he was able to rejoin the track, but lost contact there with Alceu Feldman Neto. And apparently Miguel Mariotti has settled for P2, of course. If Antonella Bassani makes a mistake, he will be there to capitalize, but her gap is quite comfortable in this moment, Sergio.
She's going to put one lap down Claudio Reina, the Porsche number 9. Ahead of Claudio Reina, we have Paulo Totaro, who is going to be also one lap behind if he is overtaken by Antonella Bassani. Now 2 laps to go. 2 laps to go. She crossed the line. Time is over. But we still have 1 full lap and part of a second lap. So Antonella Bassani, it's looking good to her in this second race of the 2024 season. And this is the battle. Wagner Pontes is in the 99. Behind him is Eric Santos. They are both from the rookie class and the battle for the 2nd place in the rookie class. So it's an important battle there. 4 points for the championship. And he's overtaken. Wagner Pontes is overtaken by Eric Santos. Great work by Eric Santos. Who is now 2nd in the rookie class.
Wagner Pontes went a bit wide. I don't know if he missed a breaking point or something like that, but anyway, Eric Santos was there to benefit, and there we see last lap Antonella with a comfortable lead, bouncing back from good but not that spectacular race won this Saturday. Of course, she's the reigning champion, so we can expect a lot from her, Sergio.
So it means, Carlos, at least she starts the season in the battle for the 2nd championship in a row. And she just turned the best lap of the race at 1:27.000. It's rare to see this number, Carlos. A round number there for Antonella Bassani.
Yeah, now already in the end of the intermediate sector, going to the final sector of the track, and what a drive from Antonella. She had to battle against Caio Castro in the first moment. Eventually she was able to capitalize on the issue with the axle of Caio's car, but she has a lot of merit in this race win, Sergio.
That's it, the music is already on for Antonella Bassani, who is getting the first win in this 2024 season, 20th anniversary for Porsche Cup Brazil. She battles for her 2nd championship in a row, and that's it. Antonella Bassani wins in Goiânia, and then Miguel Mariotti finishes 2nd. Great work by Miguel Mariotti as well. Sério Brasil, a very nice 3rd. He's the winner in the sport class. Sadak Leitos 4th. And Christian Moore finished in a great 5th position after starting way behind. There she is, Antonella Bassani. Believe it or not, guys, 17 years old only for Antonella Bassani. Definitely a new talent. We hope that we'll still hear from her and see her in winning races for a long, long time. Carlos, in a team that is led by Bia Figueiredo, which might be the biggest name so far in Brazil regarding female drivers.
Yeah, definitely. Bia Figueiredo, former IndyCar driver, had a very interesting participation in this championship some years ago. But anyway, with Antonella Bassani is already making history, I would say, in Porsche Cup Brazil. Of course, the reigning champion of the Sprint Challenge Championship, as we said in Brazil, the winner of the sport class. Hats off to him as well. As you pointed out, whole female crew for Antonella Bassani, which is important. We cannot forget actually that we need to see also female press officers, engineers, and so on apart from the driver. So we have to praise that project as well. We also have a whole female crew for Letícia Buffoni in the Porsche Sprint Trophy. And talking about the other winners, interesting to see also what Caio Chaves did in his debut. We talk about the 17 years old Antonella Bassani. Caio Chaves, only 16 years old, and what a weekend for him, winning 2 races in such an interesting debut in the series.
Yes, I agree. Great start by Caio Chaves. We also wish him well. Who knows, he might upgrade even this year or next year to the sport class and eventually to the main class. That's it. Let's listen.
Yeah, nice. The classic celebration in Porsche Cup Brazil.
Yeah.
Antonella Bassani on the roof of the car there, and she deserves. What a reaction after Saturday wet that was not brilliant, as I said, even though the 5th position in race 1 is good for her in terms of championship standings, because Christian Moore had an issue, Caio Castro had a lot of bad luck, an interesting round 1 for her, and I believe that she will carry momentum for the next event as well.
Yeah, and definitely Carlos Miguel Mariotti will be the championship leader after these first 2 races in the first round of a 6-round championship, because he was the winner in the first race yesterday and second in this race. So there is no way of any other driver getting
Tô com ela
ahead
aqui, ela que é a
of
atual campeã
him.
da categoria, a primeira mulher a vencer
Gabi
uma corrida da
Guimarães.
Porsche Cup Brasil, inclusive aqui em Goiânia. Antonella, parabéns. Depois de tudo que rolou ontem na corrida número 1, essa tem um gosto especial, uma vitória diferente, né?
Bom, com certeza, foi totalmente ao contrário da primeira vitória aqui em Goiânia, foi bem mais difícil. Pneu usado a gente sabe como é, e agora eu tenho que dedicar essa vitória aqui, Semana das Mulheres, a todas as mulheres do Brasil. E parabenizar a minha equipe pelo ótimo trabalho e também dar para ela essa vitória aí que é do nosso time feminino.
A meta é repetir a dose do ano passado, mais um título?
Bom, com certeza esse é o foco, iniciar com o pé direito já é muito bom.
Boa, parabéns. Tá aí a primeira vitória da Antonella Bassani nesse ano, atual campeã da categoria, no final de semana do Dia Internacional da Mulher. Que demais, parabéns para ela.
Yeah, nice interview there with Antonella Bassani. As I said, she's way more confident now that she's the reigning champion of the Porsche Sprint Challenge category. Talking about an interesting aspect of the strategy, because she had used tires, so the set of tires was not ideal. A challenge for her in that matter as well. But praising her engineers, her crew, as we explained, the whole female crew of Antonella Bassani, and an important result 2 days after the Women's International Day. So such a young driver, a girl still, only 17 years old as we said, but what a driver that we already see in Antonella Bassani.
Now we see the podium for the main category for all the race. That was Christian Moore, 5th place. Then we have in 4th Sadak Leite. In 3rd, Célio Brasil. In 2nd, Miguel Mariotti. And then Antonella Bassani. Opa, Marina is going to give her the trophy. Marina, who works in the marketing department of Mobile. It was a great race, Carlos. I liked it.
Yeah, definitely. A shame that Caio Castro had that incident, because I believe that we would have a fight for the race win on the track between Caio and Antonella. But anyway, good for Antonella. The race as a whole was good throughout the whole pack. Also in the intermediate class, the sport one, and in the rookie class with another race win by Caio Chaves, sorry. And I would say that the whole event has been very interesting. The two races yesterday were good, and also today we can expect good things from the next round as well.
There we see Antonella Bassani commemorating, and now we'll have the podium for the sport class. Number 5, it was Leonardo Herman, then Matheus Roque, then Luiz Souza. Then we have Seba Malucelli, and then Célio Brasil.
Good race from Célio Brasil. In a moment he was under pressure from Sadaki Leite, but eventually he was able to react. Important weekend for Seba Malucelli as well. I believe he will be leading the class given the fact that he won yesterday's race. So the situation in the classes are quite interesting when we think about the championship standings as well, Sergio.
Yeah, it's a nice battle between these two, Célio Brasil and Seba Malucelli, that they just inverted first and second from yesterday to today, Carlos. But the first race, it gives a little bit more points. So the advantage should be to Seba Malucelli, but just for a tiny bit, and we'll have a great championship there. It promises to be a great championship in the sport class.
Definitely. Célio Brasil now in this second season in Porsche Brazil, already fully adapted to the series, as now we see the rookie class podium, Sergio.
Paulo Totaro. Cláudio Simão, pardon me. Cláudio Simão wants 5th. Then Alceu Feldman Neto. Then Wagner Pontes.
Segunda posição do Eric Santos.
Eric Santos there, and finally Caio Chaves.
Caio Chaves. Levantem todos os troféus. Levantem todos os troféus. Foto oficial.
What a weekend for Caio Chaves, making his debut in the series, as I said, only 16 years old, winning both races of the weekend, obviously leading his class. Let's see if his competitors will be able to get closer to him in the next round at Velocità. The expectation for the next round actually is quite good given what we saw this weekend at Goiânia. So in April, we'll have the Velocità round. Let's hear from Célio Brasil.
Que esse ano subiu, foi para esporte, consegue sua primeira vitória. Célio, nessa hora não dá nem para processar, mas parabéns por essa primeira na nova categoria.
Obrigado. Saudade, Luke. Tava saudade já. Mas, olha, é difícil processar, mas eu sei muito bem o que me trouxe aqui. Então, primeiro, valorizar a Deus, né? Aqui a gente está aqui para divertir e poder, né, ter Deus aí para proporcionar para a gente isso aí. É o primeiro que merece agradecimento. A equipe, minha noiva, todas as mulheres. Feliz Dia das Mulheres e a maior de todas, minha noiva, minha mãe, minha irmã. Esse animal com muito carinho, como a gente se trata, né? O Alisson, o Dirane, Douglas, o William e demais, né? Não quero falhar nos nomes. Tem algumas dedicatórias também, hoje importantes. Agradecer aqui ao Léo e ao Pedro pela oportunidade de ser padrinho do filho do Leonardo, o primeiro filho dele também. Queria dedicar a ele. E no momento é isso. Pela corrida, todo mundo viu o tanto que é suado, tá numa categoria abaixo e tentar ali me posicionar numa categoria acima. Isso já vinha acontecendo no ano passado, mas é muito mais desafiador. E é o que eu posso dizer, estou muito feliz, muito grato e espero revê-los em breve aí de novo.
Ô, Célio, obrigada, viu? Parabéns, mostra aí seu troféu pra gente. Agora vamos falar com o Caio Chaves. Deixa eu encontrar o nosso garotão de 16 anos, já entro com vocês.
Yeah, nice chat there with Sábado Brasil. He was dedicating the victory to his family, also important women in his life, his fiancée, mother, sister, and also mentioning the battle with the drivers from the main sprint challenge class. He's from the sport class. Let's hear from Caio Chaves.
Segunda vitória, segunda corrida, segunda vitória, venceu ontem, venceu hoje. Caio, onde é que você tá escondendo esse segredo? Você passa o dia fazendo simulador e treinando, é isso?
É, o esquema é só simulador, nunca andei de kart, cara, pra não falar que nunca, muito pouco. O negócio é simulador, ficar todo dia, chega da escola e dar umas voltas no simulador pra conseguir, né, manter o desempenho.
Qual foi o maior desafio hoje?
O maior desafio hoje foi manter a cabeça, porque ontem eu já vim de primeiro colocado da categoria e hoje eu não poderia deixar isso subir e manter o foco para também conseguir o primeiro lugar de novo.
Tem como começar uma temporada melhor e estrear mesmo, iniciar sua carreira diferentemente do que foi esse final de semana? Eu não consigo ver cenário melhor.
Eu acho que não, porque minha estreia, 2 corridas, 2 primeiros colocados, eu acho que não tem como melhorar não.
Tinha que ser o Chaves.
Tinha que ser o Chaves.
Valeu, Caio, volto com vocês.
Funny interview there with Caio Chaves. He said that he's a sim racer, didn't have a career in go-karts, and obviously very happy because of the 2 race wins in his debut in the series. So, what a weekend for him.
Yes, great week for him. He's starting, and it's incredible, Carlos, that and it happens more and more that a sim racing driver ends up, winning races and being good. It's part of the world right now. These young drivers, of course, many come from kart, but there are cases like this with Caio Chaves. A great weekend of racing in the Goiânia International Circuit, also known as Ayrton Senna International Circuit. Ayrton Senna, who passed away almost 40 years ago, this year, 30 years ago, pardon me, almost 30 years ago. And that's it. Next weekend of Porsche Cup will be the first weekend of April. Thank you, everybody, for being with us. Bye-bye. Farewell.